On November 3rd, 2016, Facepunch dropped a devblog that hit the Rust community like a nuke. One line in the feature list said it all: removed XP system. Helk opened Devblog 134 with a savage punchline that sounded like the players had finally won. Congratulations to everyone who bitched and complained about how awful it was. You've succeeded! Just kidding. We knew the XP system was shitty about a week after releasing it. And funnily enough, not for the reasons everyone was attempting to illustrate. That wasn't some quiet little patch note. That was the brutal end of a live experiment that had only begun 119 days earlier, on July 7th, when Devblog 100 screamed the total opposite. Time to start over. The XP system is here. What the hell happened in those 3 chaotic months? Rust tried to turn itself into a proper leveling MMO, realized it was destroying the soul of the game, and ripped the whole thing out before the year was even over. This is the story of the wildest U-turn in Rust history, the 3 months that killed the XP system, and why that short failure still haunts every progression change the game has made since. Before July 2016, Rust progression was all about blueprints and fragments. You scavenged them from the world, researched at benches, and hoped RNG gave you what you needed. Helk later called it grindy barrel smashing and praying for drops, but he also admitted the randomness created wild, memorable situations where you had to make the best of whatever you found. Players were complaining about the grind, though, and Facepunch listened. Devblog 100 didn't ease into the change, it went nuclear. Features added: XP and leveling system, ownership tracking. Removed blueprints, blueprint fragments, research bench. Gary welcomed everyone to the new era while admitting balance still needed massive work. Helk broke down exactly how you'd earn XP: fishing, chopping trees, mining rocks, crafting, smashing barrels, hunting, foraging, even feeding other players or destroying helis. Ownership was supposed to be genius. Build something others used and you'd keep earning XP streams even when offline. The goal was clear: stop big groups from rushing AKs on day one while solos were stuck with hatchets. Eurogamer covered the launch the same week, calling out how XP came purely from world activities, not PvP kills, and how ownership could reward you while you weren't even playing. Rustafied's guide showed the new reality: a clean level-by-level unlock tree. Level 1 gave basics, then everything else gated behind progression. Stone tools, bows, furnaces, the works. It felt structured, modern, almost like an MMO. Not everyone was on board. Gary dropped a legacy Steam branch immediately, the July 2016 branch, saying if you missed the old blueprint days, you could switch back to the game exactly as it was one day earlier. Helk buffed early game stuff too: easier melee unlocks, bow changes, and a stronger Ioka to help fresh spawns survive the reset. It was an audacious swing, and the game now had a time capsule for the holdouts. 1 week later, everything exploded. Devblog 118 exposed a catastrophic ownership bug. Players were getting 100% XP even with tiny fractions of ownership, leading to 1 level per minute on some servers. Facepunch patched hard: caps on XP from single players, no more from resource use, diminishing returns. Official servers got wiped, maps and XP both, because people were hitting level 50 plus in hours with full endgame kits. Helk admitted this was never supposed to happen for months. Gary noted the disk saves were crashing normal hardware. Still, they weren't quitting on XP yet. They talked double XP weekends, prestige mode ideas like Call of Duty, catch-up mechanics. The studio was still invested. By mid-August, the cracks were everywhere. Devblog 123 brought back a limited research bench as a stopgap after Reddit backlash. XP forced linear play. High-tier loot felt useless if you were scared to lose it. Helk was honest as hell in that post. The XP system had huge praise before release, then lots of people hated it. He was leaning toward a full rethink. In some ways, the XP system is the antithesis of what Rust was all about. It forces players to do things in a certain order, and takes away from the sandbox feeling. He even said they might just be polishing a turd, and that ditching XP entirely was on the table. The endgame felt finished instead of endless. Components were already being discussed as the nuclear option. Everything craftable if you had the parts, but Helk warned raids would wipe 100% of your progression and drive rage quits. September's PCGamesN article made it official. Facepunch was moving away from XP. They just didn't know what came next. By November 3rd, Devblog 134 delivered the verdict. XP is out, components are in, radiation is back. Helk's postmortem was devastating. The XP system mainly sucked because it completely changed the feel of Rust as a sandbox. It was no longer about new encounters, but instead about how to level up as quickly as you can. And when that finally happened, the game immediately became boring. It killed the lemonade from lemons moments, created balanced nightmares for future items, and fought against their dream of no wipe servers. Blueprints were too random, XP too linear. Components fixed that. Everything craftable from the start, but high tier stuff needed rare world only parts from rad towns, junk piles, and recyclers. Radiation returned to make naked runs suicidal. Trade offs everywhere. Do you build the better axe or save for that AK? From July 7th to November 3rd, 119 days, Rust went full circle. They didn't call it a community victory. Helk joked about the bitching working, but admitted the studio knew it was broken internally almost immediately. The failure wasn't just bugs, it was the shape. A leveling race killed the sandbox magic. Components brought back freedom and risk, but they also revived the pain of total loss on death and raids. 11 months later, Blueprints 3.0 came back as a hybrid, mixing the best of both worlds, proving that short summer-fall experiment wasn't the end, just the painful lesson. That brief era remains the reference point every time progression gets touched. The 3 months Rust tried to become something else, realized it was wrong, and had the balls to kill it publicly. The sandbox won, and players are still searching for answers about those exact months because they changed Rust forever.